All right. Hello, everyone. If you can hear me, will you go ahead and say hello in the chat?
That's a little off.
Okay. Do we have hellos in the chat? There we go. I see some hellos now. Okay. There's a little bit of a delay, so that's a fun thing. Well, welcome to our first ever Canvas Live. We will be hosting these throughout the school year to share some timely updates with all of our Fort Worth ISD educators. And on today's agenda, we are hoping to get through these 4 things. So we're going to start by talking about how to rename your courses. Then we're going to look at cross-listing courses. We'll talk about Google assignments, and then we're going to finish up with troubleshooting. All right, mine looks like it's buffering, so hopefully it doesn't look like that on your end. But we're going to go ahead and get started. The goal today is to get you up and running if you're not already, so that you could potentially start using Canvas in your classrooms. Now, as a reminder, though, it is not a requirement this year, but we would love to see you dabble in it a little bit so that you are fully prepared to go live next year. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and demo this live. So I'm going to close out of our slide here. And I'm going to go ahead and open up my Canvas dashboard. So this should hopefully look familiar. As a reminder, to get to Canvas, you want to start in ClassLink and click on the Canvas icon in ClassLink, and that will log you into your Fort Worth ISD account. You'll notice here that I have 2 courses that I have created to simulate what you might see as a Fort Worth ISD teacher. Your Fort Worth ISD focus courses will automatically populate in Canvas, and they will be named the same way as they're named in Focus. And so my Fort Worth ISD friends, we know that the names here are a little bit funky and complicated. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and rename our courses so that they are a little bit more student friendly. When students open this, this is exactly what they see. So I'm going to start by clicking on one of my courses here to open it up. And I'm going to go down to settings in my course navigation menu. So that's way at the bottom. Okay, so it automatically opens up to our course details page. This is an awesome page to spend some time on. If you wanted to add an image to your course to kind of personalize it a little bit, you could do that right up at the top. But we're going to focus in on that second option. This is where we're going to go ahead and name our course. So you'll notice my focus name here. It's a science course. I know that it is period 5, and then 8AB tells me the particular grade level. So I'm going to rename this period 5 science or something along those lines. That way, when my students open up Canvas, they see, oh, there's my science course right there. I know I'm in period 5. That's mine. Now, I could go ahead and change the course code as well. That'll make it a little bit easier to identify the course up in our breadcrumbs. So I'm going to do that here. Okay. And then one important thing we have to do, we have to come down to the bottom and we have to update our course details for those changes to save. Awesome. Now, I just want to show you that that worked. I'm going to go back to my dashboard so we can see our new course title. And you'll notice that now it is named Period 5 Science. So I'm going to run through those steps one more time with my second course, just so that if you missed a step, you can kind of catch it in our second run through. Also, if I am going too fast or you missed something, please go ahead and put your question in the chat. We have some awesome digital learning specialists here who can go ahead and answer some of those questions. All right, so I'm going to open up my second course. And again, I'm looking in my course navigation menu, which is the inside menu, I'm going to call it. And all the way down at the bottom, you'll find settings. All right, at the very top again, if I wanted to add a course image, I could do that there. Again, I'm going to focus on naming my course. Now, this is another section of the same course. You'll notice that it's 8th grade science, it's period 5. This is where a lot of my ELL students would be. So I'm just going to name this one period 5 science I'm just going to call it ELL for my own purposes. Now, we are actually going to cross-list this in just a couple minutes, and so this course will not be visible to my students once I have cross-listed. I'm going to go ahead and make that my course code as well. Okay. And then last step, I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to update those course details. All right, so now I have successfully renamed my courses. The next thing on our agenda today, we're going to look at how to then cross-list those courses. So if you are unfamiliar with the Canvas lingo, cross-listing a course is a way to combine sections into one course. So I'm going to combine my 2 period 5s for science into one course to make it easier for me to assign things and manage those grades. So to do that, I'm going to start by deciding which one is going to be my master course. That's the one that I'm going to do all of my work in. The other one will end up disappearing for my students. So I'm going to decide that my period 5 science course, not the ELL one, is going to be my master course. We're going to kind of keep that in mind. We got to keep that name in our head because we're going to need that name in just a few short minutes. But we are going to start in one of the courses or one of the sections that we want to combine into our master. So I don't want this course anymore. I want to combine this into my master. So I'm going to go ahead and make sure I'm in my period 5 science ELL course, which I am, but I'll click it anyways just to make sure. All right, this step is super important. The first thing we need to do before we can do any cross-listing, we need to make sure that we have taken ourselves as the teacher and added ourselves to a new section in this course. I know that's a lot of lingo there. The reason behind this is that when we move our students from this course to the other one, if I haven't put myself in a new section in this course, I'm going to lose it forever. And so if I make a mistake, then I won't be able to fix that mistake because I won't be able to access this course anymore. So to remedy that situation, we're going to put ourselves in a new section so that we can still see this course after we've cross-listed. So I'm going to start by coming down again to my settings, and that's in my course navigation menu. And again, we land on course details, but at the top we have all of these different tabs. We're going to focus in on this sections tab. You'll notice that right now I have one section listed. The first thing I'm going to do is create a brand new section. So I'm going to go ahead down here in this little text box, and I'm going to call it teacher. And I'm going to click that add section button. Okay, so now I have 2 sections in this course. And we want to make sure we do that in each course that we're going to cross-list. So in today's demo, I'm just going to cross-list one course, but you may have multiple sections that you want to combine into one, so you want to do this in each and every one of them. Now that I've created my course section, I need to put myself in that teacher section. So to do that, we're going to come up to People in our course navigation menu. You're going to find your own name. So here is my name. I didn't even introduce myself, but I'm Kelly Cheatham. I'm going to come over to the right-hand side, and I'm going to click on the 3-dot menu here that's aligned with my name. And you'll notice that the second option here says Edit Sections. So I'm going to click on that. And here's where I can go ahead and add myself to the section I just created. So I'm going to click on Enter Section Name, and I'm going to type Teacher. You'll notice that it populates below, so we'll just select it. All right, I understand there is some buffering happening.
This is what everybody's seeing right now.
Can you hear me?
Hear you, but that's it.
Awesome, so you can hear me okay. You can't see anything that's happening. Okay, let's see if we can work out some of our buffering issues. We will be right back. Can you hear me now?
No, but it could come through in just a moment because it is a little. There we go. It's coming.
Okay. Oh my goodness. You got to love technical difficulties. Okay. I don't know when my screen went black, so I'm going to back up a few steps here to make sure that we catch all of the steps. So back up. All right. So the first thing I did in this course was I went to settings. And then I went to the sections tab at the top. You'll need to go ahead and add a brand new section that you are going to add yourself to. So I'm going to delete the one that I created while I was on a black screen there. All right, so to do that, we're going to click in this little text box here, and I'm going to call it teacher. And then I'll just click the add section button. So now I have two sections in this course. Now I need to add myself as the teacher to the section I just created. So to do that, I'm going to come up to the People tab in my course navigation menu. I'm going to find my name, and then I'm going to click the three-dot menu just to the right of it. And we'll go ahead and we're going to edit sections. So right now I am in this section, but I want to add myself to the section I just created. So I called it teacher. I'm going to type teacher. You'll notice that it auto-populates below. So I'll select it. And now you'll see that I'm in two sections here. All I have to do is click update. Now, as a helpful tip, you'll also see that teacher is listed underneath the name of the course, so I can see which sections I'm in just at a glance here. If you don't see teacher listed underneath the name of your course section, that you want to make sure you check to make sure you've been added. All right, so now I'm officially ready to cross-list. So to do that, we're going to come right back down to that settings button. We're spending a lot of time in settings today. And it brings us right to sections because that's where we left off the last time we were in settings. So that's perfect. So we're going to click on the section that we want to move. This is the section we want to put in our other course. I'm going to go ahead and select it. It'll tell me who's in this section. So I see I have two students and myself. And you'll notice on the right-hand side of the screen in these buttons, I have the option to cross-list this section. So I'm going to click on cross-list this section. It's asking me which course I want to add this section to. So remember, I told you we got to keep in mind the name of our master course or our the course we want to add it to. And so as a reminder, I named that one period 5 science. So I'll type that in. You'll notice that again, it populates below. So I'll just select it. It's telling me that that's the one that was selected. And now I can click cross-list this section. All right. So it has brought me to my other science course automatically. So the one that I put those students in. So now I'm in period 5 science. I know that because of those breadcrumbs at the top. And you'll notice that those students are in this, this course as well. I can see all of my students in this course by clicking the People tab. So you'll notice that in addition to having Angela and Megan, because they're from my other section, my TR section, I also have Holly and Sarah in this class as well. So both sections are now combined. So again, you'll repeat those steps for each course that you want to combine into this one. And then you'll have one course that you're dealing with. Now, important fact, when Megan or Angela go to their dashboard now, they're only going to see period 5 science listed there. They're not going to see the ELL one that I created before. They're not going to see that as an option. They only see the course that they're in. And technically, they are now in this course. All right. I think we are good to move on. I'm just double checking real fast to make sure I didn't miss anything in our chat, but I think our awesome digital learning specialists are answering as we go. So I think we're good to go. All right. Yes, and one point that I do want to make, when you have cross-listed your courses in Canvas, the grade sync with Focus will still work. So you can still send those grades back to Focus even though you've moved those kids around in Canvas itself. So yes, that's an important note to make. And that's something we'll cover. We'll cover that grade passback process in our next Canvas Live. So be on the lookout for an invitation to that one. All right. The next thing we're going to cover today is how to create a Google assignment. Now, this has been something that has been asked many times by those of you who have kicked off the year using Canvas. One thing to note, students cannot attach work from their Google Drive unless it is done through a Google assignment. I'm going to say that again. Students cannot attach work from their Google Drive unless it is done through a Google assignment. They will get an error that says they cannot share outside of their domain. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So to create a Google assignment, we can either start in the Assignments button, or we recommend that we actually start in Modules. That way we're organizing right from the start. So I'm going to come to Modules. I don't even have a module yet in this course, so I'm going to create a module. And then within my module, I'm going to click the little plus button in the top right corner. You'll notice that I get a drop-down menu asking me what I would like to add to this module. The first option is assignment, but notice that we have other options to add as well. I'm going to choose assignment because we're going to be creating a Google assignment. Now I'll click create assignment. Underneath here, I'm going to go ahead and name it. And then if I wanted to, I could choose an indentation level. This is for organizational purposes. In this case, I'm not going to indent it. I'm going to click Add Item, and you'll notice that it's now in my module. Now it's time to go ahead and actually build out that assignment. So I'm going to click on the assignment title to open up the preview panel. And then at the top right, I'm going to click Edit. All right, if you are unfamiliar with Canvas assignments, the first step is to go ahead and provide directions in the rich content editor. Underneath that, you're going to decide upon your grading criteria. So the number of points, which assignment group it's going to go to, and how you want to display those grades to students. But here's the really important part. We're going to come down to submission type. This is where we go to create a Google assignment. So in this little drop-down menu, we're going to choose the final option, External Tool. When I click on External Tool, I get this little, it's actually a box for a URL, but we're going to click on Find because we're going to find that URL. We get a list of external tools that we could use, and you'll notice that Google Assignments should pop up towards the top. So we're going to click on Google Assignments, and we're going to get a little pop-up box. All right, the first thing you might be prompted to do is to link your account. I am prompted to link my account very frequently, so it might happen to you more than once. So I'm going to link. All right. I don't know why all of my other menus went away. There we go. All right, it doesn't like that. There we go. All right, so I have this little menu here. Again, I'm going to say link. It's asking for permission. And it's going to think. Okay. Now, this should look relatively familiar because it's very similar to what we've seen in Google Classroom. So you'll notice the first option we have is that originality reports or plagiarism checker. So if you were doing some sort of writing exercise or something, or a research paper, you may want to turn that on. But underneath that, this is the crucial one. So we have the ability to attach a file from our Google Drive. So if you want to provide your students with a template to work off of, you're going to want to create that file first in your Google Drive and then attach it here. This is the same as that make a copy feature in Google Classroom. Now, you don't have to attach a file. So if you don't want to provide them a template, you don't have to do this step. As a best practice, though, we recommend that you at least attach a blank document so they have something to work off of. But whenever possible, definitely try to provide some sort of template. So I'm going to attach. gonna think. I'm just gonna attach our slides from today. So you'll notice that I see the name of my attachment, and then it does tell me that each student will get a copy. Underneath that, I can set the total number of points. Now you want to make sure that the number of points you set here is the same as the number of points you set in the Canvas assignment. So I'm gonna make this 100 points, and then I'll keep that in mind. I'm gonna go back and make sure my Canvas assignment is set the same way. I could add a due date here, and I can add a rubric here. I'm not gonna do that for the purposes of our class today. And now I'm gonna go ahead, last step, and I'm gonna click create here, and it's gonna think a little bit. All right, so it brings you back here. And I will tell you, the first time I created a Google assignment, I was very confused because I've already done this screen. So when you get back here, you wanna make sure that you click select one more time. And when you do that, you'll notice now that that URL auto-fills, and I see that it's the Google Assignments LTI there. So that's perfect. All right, remember how I said I want to make sure my points match? I'm going to come back up here and make sure that I put 100 points in that field as well. All right, so we'll finish out our assignment details. If you want to use that grade passback feature, you want to make sure this is checked. I'll decide whether I want to assign it to everyone or to maybe individual students. And then I'll go ahead and I'll set a due date here. If I wanted to set my availability dates, I could do that as well. And that controls when my students can access this assignment. And then my final step, if I'm ready for my students to see this, I can click save and publish and save myself a click later. If I think I'd like to save this just as a draft for now, I'm not ready to release it to students, I could just click save. I'm going to save and publish. All right, and it's going to do a little bit of thinking. Okay, so now this is what we'll see every time we open up this assignment. You'll see this Google Assignments LTI, which is embedded right in there. And you'll see any student submissions. The second they open that file, you'll start to see them here. So just like in Google Classroom, you can watch them working live, which is really helpful. So as soon as they start working, you'll see their name and their attachment listed here, and you can click on it to open it up and view their work. All right, that was fast and furious. We have 5 minutes left, and I know the last thing on our agenda today, we wanted to talk about some troubleshooting tips, some things that we've noticed have gone wrong that maybe we have some solutions for. So Angela, do you want to jump in at this point? Whether she wants to or not, I'm going to add her to our stream. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, well, if Angela doesn't jump in, I'll just keep talking. Okay, so one of the big things that we've noticed is that we are finding that maybe some students do not have a Canvas account yet. And so that has been something that's been reported to us a lot. We ask that you be patient here. Behind the scenes, what's happening is our new students who were just enrolled in school since the first day of school, it takes a long time for them to process and those accounts to be created. So especially since it's the beginning of the school year and we have so many new students, it is taking longer than usual. So wait a few extra days. And then if you're not finding a solution, your students still don't have an account, go ahead and reach out to your digital learning specialist. You want to provide your digital learning specialist with the name and the student ID number. All right, so that's number one. Number two, we also have people who still are unable to, well, their Canvas courses have not populated or are not populating correctly. That is something that is currently being worked on with the vendors. So that's not something that we can control in Fort Worth ISD. It is something that is a high priority item, and we know that a lot of you are anxious to get in and get started. So we're working very hard to find a solution for you, but unfortunately at this time, we don't have a solution. So like I said, we're working on it, I promise. There's a lot of scrambling behind the scenes to make it happen for you. All right. I think that's all I have for troubleshooting tips. I'm going to look in the chat here, or maybe one of my colleagues in the room can let me know, is there anything I need to address that maybe hasn't been addressed yet in our last 4 minutes? Okay, I see somebody asking for a student view of the Google LTI. Let me see. I'm not a student in any courses that I don't think. That might be something. I know Angela was having some connection issues. I'm wondering if Angela might be able to come in and show the student side of this one. But I'm not sure if she's able to hear me, so. If we're not able to demo it right now, I'm more than happy to create a video of what that looks like. So that's a resource we can share out with you later. I know it looks like Ms. Stubbs, you asked for it. So we can definitely create a resource for you so you have access to that later. All right. Well, I don't want to keep you any longer. So if you, oh, okay. I see somebody asking, can you click the student view in the top right corner? So the problem is that the student view doesn't work well with a Google assignment because the student view doesn't have a Google account. So even when I click on it, well, okay, first off, I should publish it. My module is unpublished, so I need to fix that first. There we go. Publish my module first. Okay. And now when I go to my student view, once it loads, of course. My computer is very angry today. There we go. It's recognizing me instead of the student. So unfortunately, that's not one you can look at in student view. Sorry. All right, awesome. Well, again, I want to remind you, if you have questions, please, please, please don't hesitate to reach out to your digital learning specialist. We are here to help. A lot of us are learning alongside you, but I know I learn best when people ask me questions because it forces me to look up answers. So definitely reach out to us. We're more than happy to support you. And we thank you so much for joining us for our first Canvas Live. Like I said, be on the lookout for an invitation to our second Canvas Live. That'll be coming to you soon. And with that said, have an awesome evening, everyone.